Welcome to the Other Discovery Show, the bonus show from the podcast Discovery Show. That's not about podcasts. It's about all of the other things that we've discovered throughout the week. I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach.
And I have a discovery that was brought to us by our friend over at It's Not Rocket Surgery, Vlado. He tagged us in this, and he also tagged, I believe, another very famous podcast. So it was kind of funny to be in the same category.
I fully appreciate that we were in the same tags as 99% Invisible. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we're the same league, right? Right.
Yeah, so
Can
it's
we
like,
be? Please?
Either it's like 99% Invisible, you need to do a show about this, or PDS, you need to do a TODS discovery about this. I'm like, okay, yeah, I think we can do that.
He might have gotten the worst of the two options.
Well, there's one that probably doesn't do near as much research beforehand.
No, but we do really we really appreciate like the shout out and like also super interesting.
It is. So it's about Ukrainian embroidery, which at face value sounds super boring. But there's basically like a hidden language and words and numbers in this embroidery, and there's like this whole deciphering system to be able to find out what this old lady's crochet means. So in 2008, the world saw the first of its kind book about the letter decoding of embroidered symbols on clothing and household items in the Ukraine. Like there's like this whole type of embroidery that's just full of secret messages. A lot of times it's like coat of arms or type of like the first and last name of a family member, numbers, days of the week.
Did you see why this started? Was it something to like preserve a history, you know, to like make a legacy in whatever they're creating, or was it like a necessity thing? Because I also wonder if there was cultures who hid things out of necessity. So there was restrictions on what they could say or whatever else. And so they hid things because they had to.
Yeah. So I didn't think I saw anything in the article about like a reason to hide things. So, and there isn't. So
could just be maintaining legacy.
Yeah. So this author really dug deep into trying to find a way to decode this because he had a passion for trying to decode and preserve the history and culture of the Carpathians. And it says that encryption looks like a modern QR code. Each symbol hides a letter and a number that together create a unique charm pattern. Thereby, anyone can use such an embroidered alphabet and convey a message via ornaments. And all who learn how to use such an alphabet will gain a new level of knowledge of the Ukrainian language. And they've got this whole cipher on here. So like they'll have the A, and it looks like just like an arrow, but that's what stands for A. It's just really neat. They even have full words, and like this just looks like a flower, but it means something. Winter, it has a specific symbol. There's a symbol for each month. For numbers, they show a symbol on here for like mama or father, which is tato, and it's really neat. It's really crazy. It's a great discovery.
He even posted over, I think he made his name out of the cipher, and he sent us a picture of that. So yeah, Vlado, thanks for the discovery. We're going to post all the stuff in the show notes, because did he post one that he kind of went down this rabbit trail? I think it was his, where it was about a Norwegian soccer team making their new logo. And then from that, he saw that like iconography and like hidden meaning within.
That may have been the same thing, because I remember him because the logo was very similar to our first logo that we had.
Really?
Yeah, that's he called it out for us. He tagged us in that as well, because it had the anchor and everything. It looked just like the anchor, the first anchor that Twigs made for us.
But yeah, we really appreciate the Discovery. We'll have everything in the show notes. Definitely check it out. It's really awesome how they were able to put language inside of design. So another one from the group. So huge shout out to the podcast Discovery Club and everybody that's been sending discoveries our way. You've nailed it this week because Keith from Pop-Up Filmcast and frequent contributor on the podcast Discovery Club told us, hey, you should watch episode 1 of a show called Down to Earth. It's perfect for the other Discovery show. And I told Kirk, I was like, I've seen this when we're eating lunch. A lot of times we'll watch Netflix, and I've seen the trailer, and it's Zac Efron saying, how do you say let's go? Como se dice let's go? Or what, you know what I mean? Like, it's the most jabroni part of the entire show is the thing that they show over, like, literally I saw it 20 times because it's the first thing you see on like the auto playing trailer on Netflix. But we watched this show, and let me just tell you, it's a pretty great show.
Yeah, we didn't even watch one episode. We watched the whole series together during
we watched all of
a few days.
Including the other guy we work with too. We all just leaned in, we watched it all. And it's a pretty great show. You have Zac Efron and someone named Darin Olien, and they are traveling around the world looking at how different countries are doing things in a way that is sustainable, is maybe a way to put it. So the first episode, they go to Iceland, and Josh, you might have some insight here on if you saw any of this stuff. But they go to Iceland and they start, and I think this is the part that he was focusing on that I think he thought would be a cool thing for us to talk about. They generate energy in Iceland from literally drilling huge wells. Like, I think they said like a mile deep, right?
It was nuts.
They vent it down into like ridiculously deep. And what they do is they let that steam build up and shoot through the pipe. And then that turns a turbine, and they're literally using the heat of the earth to power cities. And not only that, there's crazy synergy with other companies working with the power company to do anything that would be essentially excess or waste from this power company is being used. So they have it's not a hot spring. What did they call it? A mineral spring, a mineral pool. I can't remember. But it's this crazy looking water that the salt and mineral content is so high that it literally looks like milk. It's like cloudy, the whole thing. And it's like a hot spring because it's like venting out all this geothermal heat and doing everything like that. And they have figured out that it's like a cure for psoriasis. So literally, if you have psoriasis, you go there. And it's literally just extra from the power company. They have taken all of their CO2, and they found some way. They dug another well, and they shoot it into the earth, and it like crystallizes.
It makes rocks, basically. It makes a rock. So they're in it. It's nuts.
They're like, no, we're putting that back in there, and they do somehow. But from this, both me and Kirk, as we're watching this, first of all, neither of us are a huge fan of Zac Efron, and that's just like, I haven't seen High School Musical. I haven't seen the Ted Bundy movie. It's like, it's not anything against him. It's just,
I liked him in The Greatest Showman. It was good.
He was in Greatest Showman?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that either. But
he was Bailey of Barnum and Bailey.
Really? No, and honestly, I just feel like it's not like my demographic. He will be once he gets, I have this whole theory of like, when young guys or actors, a lot of times do like kind of like romantic type stuff, because McConaughey did this a lot, Ben Affleck did this, but then once they get like 35, then you can start doing like better roles. So we'll see, because I don't necessarily know that he's a terrible actor, but he's very like relatable, because it's like, I feel like that's like the normal person watching this show. It's like, you can watch Zac Efron and he's just getting his mind blown the entire show, because like they go to France, and France has a public water system that is better than any water you can drink, even bottled here. They have all of this.
And it's free, and it's not like selling bottles of water that's destroying the
Yeah, they
environment.
literally
It's like,
sell reusable bottles, and you go fill it up at the tap outside.
mhm.
But they have all this different type of stuff that's like, how can we do things better constantly? And Zac Efron's getting his mind blown. But the other co-host is Darin Olien. And both of us, while we were watching this, were like, who is this guy? Like,
Yeah.
what is this guy's... I don't know how you describe that.
What tipped me off is because they were going all over the world, and I swear in almost every place they stopped, he's like, "Oh, I've got this friend. I want you to meet this colleague of mine that has this, and this that's sustainable and does this to help the environment." And I'm like, "This dude, this is the all-star in this show." Like, I think Zac Efron's, the eye candy for everyone, but this dude is the guy that knows everything.
More like
He
Snack
knows everybody.
Efron.
Snack Efron. Oh god. Got him.
I was wondering if that was going to derail you, and it did. Thankful for that.
I was done with my thing that I was saying.
No, but basically, they even admit it in the show. They talk about it, where Zac Efron had listened to one of Darin Olien's podcasts, and he really related to his message. He reached out to him and he said, I want to use my following, my social media following, for something positive. And so Darin Olien did this. And so I looked into this guy. And let me just tell you, this guy's up to a lot of stuff. Like, it's crazy. So for 15 years, he traveled around looking for superfoods. So I'm not talking, he generally like Googled it and stuff. He went constantly to like the Amazon and to every corner that he could possibly get in to try and find what native populations were eating. What were their like medicine foods? What were the things that they were looking for to try and like solve X problem? And then he tried to use that in a more organized way, or at least to bring that to a Western audience that wouldn't have been there before. But he wrote a book called Super Life is part one. So in this book, the point of it is there are 5 fixes that will make you healthy, fit, and eternally awesome is the name of the book. Kirk, it is on Audible.
So I can read it.
Yeah, you can read it with your ears. So basically the 5 forces that he's like trying to teach you about is quality nutrition, hydration, detoxification, oxygenation, and alkalization. So
alkalinity?
Your pH. And he basically runs through how you can change all of these things and use all of those things so that you're healthier. Okay, so that's part one. He wrote a book, kind of fitness guru type of guy. He's one of the founders of Barucas, a new super nut.
Barucas?
It's a super nut from the Savana Cerrado of Brazil. Through the sustainable business practices, the company is committed to supporting this important biome by planting 20 million Baruzieta trees. Basically, he found...
That's a lot of trees.
He found some kind of nut. Yeah, he found some kind of nut that is supposedly like a superfood. So on their website, and all this will be linked in the show notes. Seriously, this guy is just up to a bunch of crazy stuff. This nut apparently has 25% fewer fat calories than other nuts. It has 6 grams of protein with essential amino acids. It's loaded with minerals. It has a bunch of antioxidants, 3% higher than the most popular nuts, which I'm guessing is peanut. I feel like that's fair to say. Like peanuts, the popular one, I guess. And it has the highest fiber of any nut. And also it's a great source
keep
of
you regular
vegan protein. And so he's also selling some kind of Brazilian nuts.
These nuts, man.
Yeah, where's Bend Over when you need him? Yeah, I know. This is his time. He also worked with a fitness company called Beachbody to formulate one of the top superfood shakes in the USA, a whole food supplement called Shakeology, which everyone has probably heard of.
Yeah.
He also has a detox program that he's come up with. He launched in early 2020 an app called 121 Tribe, created to help people learn about whole food, plant-based eating, recipes, easy follow to education, and habitat tracking and exercise. He's an advisor to something called P5 Energy, a cutting-edge green technology incubator with a primary focus on zero pollution power systems. He is a partner in GreenPath, dedicated to real solutions for a new world with cutting-edge nanotechnology for hand and
I told you,
surface
man.
sanitation.
He's the superstar on that show,
No,
and a lot of people don't know who he
GreenPath,
is.
they put some surface on things that's naturally like disinfecting, which how important is that right now? It's through the roof. Like, and then he also is a director of strategic alliances and global health ambassador for APICS. APICS, I think is probably what it is. APPICS, a revolutionary new social media platform monetizing passion and content through cryptocurrency and blockchain. So we've talked about some things like this, where essentially, if you get likes, if you get general pickup of your social media content, you can get like cryptocurrency for it. It's not something where it's just kind of like in the void or whatever else. You can literally be monetizing your effectiveness of social media. And I mean, the last line of this thing is Darin holds a Bachelor of Arts in Exercise Physiology, Nutrition, and a Master's in Psychology. So that's the least of the achievements, is that he's a multi-degree holder.
He's probably old enough to be our dad, and he looks better than we'll ever look.
Oh,
in
he's
our life.
yoked. Yeah, that dude's ripped.
He looks more fit than I'll ever dream of being.
And he's vegan. Like, yeah, the dude's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Like they would. It's a travel show, but they, of course, they eat food everywhere and stuff like that.
Off.
Take their shirts off. Get in the cold baths, hot bath.
I'm exaggerating. It's like one episode. It's not like every episode has like a slow motion scene with jazz music where they're taking their shirts off. It's not.
There was a lot of, and I did catch it. There was a lot of like zoom ins on Zac Efron's like face, like looking off into the distance. I'm like, what is this? But no, the show is amazing. It's an amazing show. Can we talk about how it ends, or do you think that's a spoiler?
I'm on the fence because it's not like the show isn't like a narrative. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not. I just think it's very fascinating, and if someone's not going to watch the show, it's something interesting to discuss.
Okay, if you're concerned about hearing any information about the show, close your ears for a second. It's not a major spoiler though, so don't worry.
Yeah, so I just thought it was crazy because the whole time they're going around the world finding things that are going to help heal the planet, things that are going to help maintain things and to be good stewards of the planet. They talk about global warming a lot and things like that. And what's nuts is in the last episode, while they're at their last location, where were they at that time? I don't remember where they ended, but they were still on the other side of the world. Remember. And there were wildfires that were going off in California. And literally, while they're recording their last episode about global warming, about how the climate's changing and how bad like natural disasters are happening, Darin's house burns down. He loses everything.
His dog was fine.
Yeah, he had kenneled his dog because he was going out of town, luckily. But everything else, all of his possessions are just completely burned up. And it was just kind of this weird, like it kind of made everything feel real. And I know it wasn't like fabricated because literally he lost everything.
No, he goes to the house. It's a patch of ash.
It was weird because it's such a kind of lighthearted show most of the time. It's
they
fun.
Really downer it for the ending.
And then right at the end, you see him walking through where his home used to be, and it's nothing but black ash, and he's just yelling like, it's like, God, like it's gone. And that's it. That's how it ends.
Yeah, the end. Just cut to black.
But it kind of like grabs you and it's like, come on, we can do better.
No, and he talked about like
it's real. It's not some
we're seeing like extreme weather events, So
yeah, they go to Puerto Rico, and because of all the hurricanes that have hit there in the last like in the last like 4 years, they've been hit by more hurricanes than most places will ever get hit by ever.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's really interesting. It's really interesting to see them working, because here's the thing. I don't consider Zac Efron used in this situation. He wanted to do this. He
Mm-hmm.
wanted to use the awareness he had, and he has awareness. When he was in the Amazon, nobody knew who he was. They didn't care. But when he was in Europe, when he was in Italy, they knew who he was. It was very apparent they knew who he was. There was large groups of women who knew who he was. And they would show up. But he is using that to try and bring awareness to some major issues of the time, and that's a pretty great thing. And honestly, he is by the end, you're like, you know what? I get it, man. My mind would be blown too. I'm no Darin Olien. I
Yeah,
would be the Zac
there's one
Efron.
episode when they're in Italy and they're talking to all these people, because what they call it, the blue zone, where people live to be 100 and something, and it's
Yeah.
consistent. Like they live longer lives than anyone else on the planet, and they were looking at their diets and everything. But the biggest thing was just a much slower paced life and
Yeah,
just
and maybe
enjoying
genetics.
everything. And it blew his mind. He's like, man, I got to get out of LA.
Yeah,
And
he
you just
literally
see him
says
because
multiple times, I'm leaving Hollywood. I can't do this.
you just see his brain being exploded, and he's like, I want more than what I have. And it's a good show. It's really a good show. I really like that Keith told us about it, because I never would have watched it if it wasn't for Keith. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have watched it.
It's great. I wouldn't have either, because like I said, I judged it based on the trailer that Netflix put on there. But honestly, I did.
What's a decent? Let's go.
Yeah, I really did.
Whatever.
I really did like it. Was that even in the show? I think it was. Maybe.
It
I don't
was.
remember it. But it was a great show. It's a really fun one to check out. I highly recommend it. And I know that it was probably your turn to do Discovery, but this we've talked about before. We're single-use plastics. I feel like we've kind of universally understood that it's not great,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to figure out ways to make that change to do less with that, because you can make small changes and you're not contributing to the problem. And literally, I saw an ad on Instagram, and I guess they just knew that I was watching Down to Earth or something. I don't know. They got me. But there's a company called Blueland. Have you heard of this?
I have not.
They were on Shark Tank.
Okay, maybe if you explain it, I might.
Okay,
be
so
yeah, I remember that one.
Basically, they are a soap company, I guess you'd call it. But what they do is they sell you a 1 glass bottle, and then they sell you what looks like Alka-Seltzer tablets that you put in the
Yes,
bottle with
I do
water,
remember this.
and it turns into soap.
And it's not just soap; it's
No, it can also be glass
hand
cleaner.
soap, cleaners, because every single product that you have in a spray bottle or a container like that, almost every single one of those, the main ingredient is water. 90% of the ingredient is water, if not more, most
They
of the time.
decided to lean into that. But yeah, they sell cleaning sprays, so multi-surface glass, bathroom mirror, foaming hand soap, dish soap, dishwasher tablets, and laundry tablets. And all of it literally comes in what looks like an Alka-Seltzer tablet. And so they do not sell plastic single-use containers that you throw away. They literally sell you glass bottles, because you buy 1 glass bottle and then you just get more tablets. And it's not something where you're constantly cycling through. You're doing the one thing, because literally on their website, and this is part of their ethos, it's part of their mission statement. It's part of what they're doing, is they're trying to decrease the amount of trash.
Mm-hmm.
And so 14 billion pounds of trash is dumped into the ocean each year, is one of the things on their website. It has toxic effects on everyone. And as plastic breaks down, it becomes microplastics, and then it's in our foods. It's in us, it's in everything. That's one of the main problems they're seeing, is the small plastics that we can't filter out. And so I just thought it was cool. It was literally an ad I saw on Instagram, but I was like, that's interesting, because I've just
I have seen that
generally
on.
been interested in it.
I remember that on Shark Tank now, and I did think that one was a really good idea.
Yeah, they made it apparently.
That's great. All right, Zach. So, what is the band of the week?
This week, I have started a new segment on Creators Cove because I was thinking about at least when I was a kid, when I would get a CD, I would always open the booklet, and look through the booklet and read all the stuff they said and like add all the lyrics in there. And I was like, that's not a thing anymore. You can't,
It's really
you
not.
can't look through a booklet. You're not getting a physical CD. So I was talking to George Payton last week, and he literally just said the word, and I was like, that's perfect. The new segment's called Liner Notes. So it's the liner notes for albums that live in a digital world now. And last week I talked to Adam Randall, who we've had on the show before. We've had his music at least. And we kind of go through his entire album. So I'm going to be releasing that very soon. It might be through his platform because in the end, I would rather him be able to use that so that people listen to his album than me be able to put it on my feed immediately. So
Yeah.
He has a new EP called Two Man Con that he recorded literally all remotely. He tracked his stuff. He sent it over to someone else. They tracked some stuff. They sent it to someone he didn't even know, and they tracked some stuff. And it sounds amazing. And I'm going to go with a song called One Bird that is about his two sons. And if you're at all interested in kind of his breakdown of this album, his liner notes, if you will, about this album, that will be available pretty soon. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining us on the live stream. We hope that you'll hop on our Facebook group, the Podcast Discovery Club. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear anything new you discover throughout the week. We have a Twitter. We have a Twitch channel. We have a YouTube channel. We have a lot of stuff. When we
have a Discord. We haven't. We've had it for a very long time.
Let everybody know what we're thinking on the Discord, not what it was, but what it can be.
So the idea is, our Discord is going to be our small community where we can connect with you guys. We can actually have movie nights, game nights. We can actually listen to the shows that we recommend together. And then you guys can be in the loop for what we're going to talk about on that next episode of the PDS. So I think it's going to be a really cool place to really build the community of Discovery, just like the Podcast Discovery Club, but we'll have more leeway because it's not Facebook. So we'll have a little bit more. And we actually have friends that I have people that have reached out to me and said, I would love to be a part of the club, but I don't do Facebook. Like I don't do that. So hopefully a Discord can be a middle ground where it's accessible to everybody.
Yeah, no, we really do want you guys to get in touch. If you listen to the show and you have any random thought you want to tell us, we want to hear it. We're very accepting and we'd love to hear from you. But in the end, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it.
We love you.
Now, I hope you guys enjoy the song One Bird by Adam Randall.
Bye.
One big, too small a bus ride to the countryside mall. The two boys looking for two girls, eating the samples, all for the toothpicks, and both in the way now, in the way now, in the way now, in the way now, in the way now. It's one head staring at two eyes, getting a snap, wearing a backpack. He's one boy looking for one girl, one in a million, shopping around and still in the way, in the way. bloom where you're planted, then move to a valley. Fuck what they say. Make your own way. Your own way now. Your own way. You're not in the way now. In the way. In the way now. In the way. In the way now.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.